In Jefferson County, Arkansas, a series of questionable decisions and conflicts of interest are raising alarming questions about the integrity of the child welfare system. At the center of it all, County Clerk Shawndra Taggart. Shawndra Taggart, a public official with a seemingly spotless reputation, had 4 foster children under her care. But when a tragic event unfolded in her home, the response of child welfare authorities left many stunned. Her son shot and killed her husband in their home, a shocking incident that should have prompted an immediate investigation and possible removal of the foster children. But that didn't happen. Despite the violence and instability, the children were not removed. Why? Some say it's a blatant example of favoritism, proof that those in power get special treatment. In most cases, such a serious incident would result in the immediate removal of foster children from the home. The decision to leave them there, particularly when there were clear signs of danger, raises serious concerns about how the system operates when public officials are involved. This isn't an isolated incident. Since a 2015 law expanded judicial powers over child welfare cases, similar situations have been occurring throughout Arkansas. In Jefferson County, Judge Earnest Brown, Jr., known for his significant influence over juvenile cases, is at the center of a growing debate about judicial overreach and bias. Some allege that his rulings are swayed by relationships with local officials like Shawndra Taggart, creating a dangerous precedent where personal connections can determine a child's fate. Stay with us as we uncover the hidden conflicts, judicial biases, and systemic failures that keep children trapped in a broken system. And in our next video, we'll dive deeper into the conflicts involving Maurice Taggart and Judge Brown, and what these mean for the future of child welfare in Jefferson County. Subscribe for part 2, share this video, and demand justice for children in Arkansas. #child welfare. Video, we explored the troubling case of Shawndra Taggart, but the conflicts in Jefferson County run even deeper. Meet Maurice Taggart, a local official whose clashes with Judge Brown reveal even more about the system's flaws. Maurice Taggart has had documented conflicts with Judge Earnest Brown, Jr., who presides over juvenile cases in the county. Their disagreements highlight a complex web of political motivations and judicial biases that are tearing families apart. When local officials and judges have conflicts, it can create a toxic environment where decisions are no longer made based solely on the facts of the case. There's a risk of rulings being influenced by personal vendettas or political considerations. Since the 2015 law granting judges more power in child welfare cases, some counties have seen a 74% decrease in the use of in-home protection plans, replaced instead by more aggressive foster care placements. Jefferson County has not been immune to these changes. Judges like Brown now have unprecedented authority, sometimes removing children based on frustration with DCFS handling of a case rather than evidence or the child's best interest. These biases don't just affect numbers on a spreadsheet. They impact real children, real families, caught in a system that may prioritize power and relationships over justice. The time for reform is now. We need transparency, accountability, and a system that protects children above all else. Join us in demanding an end to these conflicts of interest and a brighter future for every child. Speak out, share this story, and make a difference. Subscribe, share, and advocate for change now. #Justice for Kids. Arkansas, a hidden crisis threatens the lives of vulnerable children. A small group of officials and organizations is manipulating the child welfare system for financial gain, at the expense of those they are supposed to protect. Conflicts of interest between foster parents and DCFS have led to preferential treatment that compromises child safety. One case involves a foster parent with family ties to a DCFS supervisor. Despite multiple reports of neglect, the foster parent avoided any investigation. Reports of mistreatment were ignored, and the foster children remained in a dangerous environment, highlighting a clear abuse of power. When foster parents are protected by their relationships with DCFS staff, the children lose. It becomes a cycle where children are exploited, not safeguarded. Private foster care agencies receive more state funding based on the number of children in their care. Arkansas Care Homes, a private agency, saw its funding jump to over $2 million in a single year after dramatically increasing child placements. Investigations reveal this agency extended child placements beyond what was necessary, even when children were ready to return home, just to inflate occupancy and maximize funding. We have documented cases where records were manipulated to keep children longer, simply to secure more money. This is fraud, and it's the children who pay the price. The Jack Jones Juvenile Detention Center received funding tied directly to the number of children in custody. Internal documents show administrators pressured staff to keep children longer against professional recommendations. Detention center emails reveal a focus on maximizing occupancy, even when it was not in the best interest of the child. This facility benefited from holding children longer than necessary. Decisions that should prioritize a child's welfare were instead driven by financial motives. Inside DCFS, records were tampered with, cases were manipulated, and fraudulent activities were uncovered to secure higher funding. A senior DCFS employee, with ties to a private agency, altered files to inflate placement rates. These alterations allowed DCFS to receive extra state funds while children were wrongfully kept in the system. I saw reports changed to justify keeping kids in foster care longer. Speaking out meant risking my job. This is a culture where corruption is allowed to thrive. A small, interconnected network profits from this broken system. They exploit their positions to control funding and evade accountability, regardless of the harm they cause to children. With limited oversight, this network continues to enrich itself while children remain trapped in a system that fails them. Jefferson County's child welfare system needs urgent reform. We must push for independent oversight, complete audits, and regulations that prioritize children over profit. Stand with us in demanding justice and accountability. Every child deserves a system built on care, not corruption. Share this video. Demand change. Join the fight for child welfare reform. #EndCorruption, #JusticeForKids.